Right, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so let's get ready to get black into it.
In order for you and me to devise some kind of method or strategy to offset some of the events or a repetition of the events that have taken place here in Los Angeles recently, we have to go to the root. We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain, stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put two dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man to go nuts if he can't shoot. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
Queen.
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Ahmadiyyah.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Ahmadiyyah.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
I'm
Queen.
getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
We get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation.
All right, so hello everyone. Thanks for tuning back in. Now let's see who's in here. Okay, Jeff Houston, Greta is here, Bookhorse DC, the infamous Marty Marr. All right, let's get into it. I see you, Sheila, Desmond, Leon. All right, we the people. And shout out to my moderators because y'all know they be putting in work. Edwa L is here. All right, Dark Tube. Okay, let's get into it. Smiley. All right, Ashkan is here. Okay, Youngish Turnip Boone is here. All right, so that all been said, shout out to all of my loyal roles and everyone tuning into the Queen. And with that all been said, hey Edwater, I see you, beloved Alice. Okay, so that all been said, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes, and then we'll get into it.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find her products at Walmart.com. And also don't forget that she sells beard oil, and she just informed me yesterday that she is going to be having a sale for the 4th of July. Okay, so don't miss out on that. Okay, and so that all being said, let's get ready to get into it. Everybody hit that like button. Thank you in advance. Okay, I'm just setting the channel so that only members can post in the chat and in the comments section. Okay, there we go. Now, I'm sure some trolls will still get in here because, trolls actually do subscribe to the channel. Okay, so let's talk about it. First off, there was another black man found hanging from a tree, and it's gotten very little media coverage. Okay, and I want you all to pay attention because this is the second person in 2 weeks. So Nia Nicole Miller was found the day before Juneteenth, or within the second person within 2 weeks. Okay, now, so we're going to talk about that momentarily, but before we do, I want to talk about Karmelo. Okay, because I was looking at the picture of the blood on Karmelo's finger. And I was just thinking about some of the things that his attorney didn't do. For example, they didn't talk about any DNA evidence, any forensics or evidence or any of those things. And I thought that was interesting because we all saw that Karmelo had a cut on his finger, right? He had a cut on his finger, and I'm pretty sure that most people assumed that it was Austin's. But look at that. Now, when you zoom in close, you can see there's actually a slit on his finger. So that is, in fact, his own blood. Now, you might say, well, that doesn't really matter. If you cut somebody, you may get blood on your finger, you may cut your finger. This is all true, but that would usually come in the case of multiple stabs, because when you stab a person multiple times with the blood pouring, it gets on the hands, and then your hands become slippery, and you can slip and cut yourself. But he cut himself on the knife, so that just makes me wonder, how did he, I don't know if he cut himself on the knife. Let me just stop right there. But it just makes me wonder, how did he get that cut on his finger? Was it from the knife? How did that happen? And if it was from the knife, what was going on when for him to cut himself like that? But also, I was thinking about the fact that the knife or the tool, okay, is only 3.5 inches. The wound to Austin's chest was 2.5 inches. And as I told you all before, and I want you all to tell me your thoughts on this, at the end of the day, I told you all from day one that Austin had to be up close on him. Okay, Austin had to be close up on Karmelo for him to get stabbed the way that he did. He had to be closer than an arm's length away. Okay? And I also told you all that there was some people saying that Austin tried or attempted to put him in a headlock. And I felt like that would have been the opportunity for him to have been poked if that was the case, or stabbed, and then because he would have been so close up on him. Now, the question for me is, looking at all of these different videos, and people are seeing different things. Some people think that he fell on the knife. Some people think that someone else stabbed him. Some people think that Karmelo stabbed him. It's just hard to tell. I really wish we had the exact footage, the clear footage that everyone saw at the school. We should be asking ourselves, why are they hiding it? Okay, why are they hiding it? Now, I'm inclined to think that when Karmelo went out there and told the police, I'm not alleged, I did it, all of a sudden, I don't think that he was talking about he stabbed him. That's what I initially thought. But then someone said that when he was talking to the officer, he could have just been simply saying that he was the person involved in the incident. I don't know. Or he could have been saying, maybe he thought that he stabbed him and didn't. Who knows? There are more questions than answers. Okay, I just want you all to pay attention. Now, I don't want anyone to think that I'm trying to paint any sort of narratives, because we have enough of that going on with the MAGA crew, because that's exactly what they're doing. I was listening to a couple of lives last night on TikTok, and these people are absolutely delusional. Hold on, beloveds. These people are absolutely delusional, in my opinion. Okay, here's the question I want you all to think about. Now, they keep saying that Karmelo was the provocateur. He was the instigator. He was the one who started. He came there looking for trouble. How do you go looking for trouble when trouble comes to you? Now, we all saw the boys, and that would be Austin and Hunter and their friends. We saw them waltz into the track meet, and Hunter jogged past the rest of them, made his way to the front. Two veered off to go elsewhere. Some say they went to distract the coach. I don't know what they went to do, but two of them did veer off, and Hunter went straight up the middle. There was a whole empty space until those boys arrived. Once they arrived, you no longer see an empty space. The space is now filled because that's when they surrounded Karmelo. But the MAGA minions don't want to talk about that. Okay, to them, none of that makes the difference. And then they say that Karmelo was the one who provoked the whole thing because he said, touch me and see what happens. We don't even know if that's actually what he said because other people say that he said, as long as you don't touch me, we're cool. So we don't even know which one he said, but even if he said, touch me and see what happens, any person with good common sense would know not to touch someone unless you want something to happen. But the question for me is, how are they saying that he was the one who provoked the whole thing when he was previously sitting there minding his own business until they all showed up simultaneously and then came straight up the middle of the bleachers, like 5 rows, to get up in his face? And then they say one of the witnesses, at least one of the witnesses, said that Austin said to Karmelo, I don't want to fight. But if you don't want to fight, why would you go up 5 rows of bleachers and get up in someone's face and say, I'm going to beat your bitch ass? Because that's what another witness said. So conflicting stories. You see, what I'm saying is this. All of these conflicting stories should have been enough for the jurors to have reasonable doubt. Isn't that reasonable? Doesn't it seem like with the different stories being told, stories being changed from the initial statements given to police, that would just give them some cause for doubt? Now I have to wonder, what kind of jury instructions did they in fact receive to find that he was guilty of murder? When there's all these questions and there's people who clearly should have lost credibility because they were caught in lies. They were caught saying things that they didn't previously say. And then they had to be reminded. And the MAGA minions want us to think that, well, because it had been a year ago, of course they forget some things. Well, you could. You absolutely could forget some things. Let's say, for example, if he was wearing a blue shirt, and then you said he was wearing a blue shirt to detectives, but then a year later you said he had on a black shirt. And then they remind you that, no, you told us the shirt was blue. You could do something like that, and that would make absolute sense to me because that's just a minute detail, and a change of color is just one thing. But when you say to the detectives that he picked him up in a linebacker move and cleated him, and then he shoved him back so hard that he fell into Dustin, and Dustin fell back, that's very specific. But then for you to say that in the beginning and then you get on the witness stand and say, oh, Austin just tapped him on the shoulder. He just slightly pushed him. That's a whole nother story. And I'm inclined to think that now you've either been told to say that, possibly coached, or you're just flat out lying because you're trying to defend someone who you were friends with or likely played on the same team as them. Okay? Because you don't just go from saying all of this to now it was just a slight tap, like barely a touch. And I don't want to fight you. And then someone else is saying, I'm going to beat your bitch ass. Another thing is that they're not talking about is when they say that Austin said ain't nothing in that bag and then snatched the bag and threw it. Now, if he snatched the bag and threw it again, how was Karmelo's hand in the bag the whole time? You know what I think? I don't think Karmelo's hand was ever in the bag. I don't think Karmelo ever even had his backpack unzipped and ever had his hand in it. I think Karmelo was sitting there talking to Eddie and looking at his phone like someone said. And I think when they came up there and started going in on him, he was likely caught off guard. And I think that what Hunter initially said when he was still on the field, allegedly talking to Fox 4 Dallas, that's exactly what happened, that Karmelo picked up the tool they had used to put up the tents. That's what I think happened. All that other BS was lies and BS as far as I'm concerned. And for the MAGA millions who want to sit there and say, they want to keep saying, oh, the witnesses said this. I'm just going to go by the facts. I'm going to go by what the witnesses say. These are the same people who act as though witnesses can't tell a lie. These are the same people who think that OJ is guilty, even though OJ was acquitted. These are the same people who some of them still to this day think Michael Jackson was guilty, but Michael Jackson was acquitted. You see how they pick and choose? You see how they have selective outrage? You see how they believe what happens in the court, the evidence that's presented, the witness's testimony? They believe it when it fits their narrative. But when it doesn't go the way they want, all of a sudden they don't believe it. I want y'all to pay attention to the BS. But hold on. Let's see what longtime attorney Mark Garagos had to say about this case. And I also want you all to pay attention to how they tried to flip the script. The rumors about Karmelo being suspended from school, the rumors about Karmelo having taken a knife to school in February and having gotten in trouble with it, like the February before this incident happened, these are the lies they told. Because Karmelo was never in trouble for taking a knife to school. He was never suspended. But the boys were, supposedly. They were kicked off the track team. When they talk about Karmelo had no business being under the tent, hell, they had no business being at the track meet. And I don't think that the coach ever even told Austin to go there and act like a leader, okay, and put up that tent. I think that's something conveniently that the coach came up with as to explain away why, in fact, the boys were there. Because if the boys were really supposed to be there and being leaders, why the hell were they over at the middle school allegedly harassing some girl from Emerson High School, and they got in trouble and their mom had to come up to the school? How'd they have time to do all of that? Because clearly they weren't being leaders, as they claim the coach said. All of these people in the town seem to have gotten together to get their story straight, in my opinion. But let's continue. Now, this is famed attorney Mark Garagos. He was on News Nation, and I believe this was during the trial. He's done plenty of videos where they have asked his thoughts on this. So I just chose one. Okay, I'm waiting for this to cue. They're playing some ads right now. This was on News Nation. Like everyone, please don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance. Here we go. I'm going to share my screen.
To the specifics of the legalities. Okay, what do we know about self-defense here, how to stand your ground, factor in, and what are the rules with the jury and what is likely and unlikely here on appeal? Okay, defense attorney, Mark Garagos, former felony prosecutor, Eric Faddis. Good to have you both, gentlemen. Thank you. First, Mark, did I basically lay it out right for people's understanding at home? You don't have a right to jury by people of your race, but people of your race can't be excluded on that basis from a jury either. What do you make of what is known in the law as a Batson challenge here, and why it was rejected by the judge and what it could mean on appeal?
Well, okay, you asked, the first question was, did you get it right? Don't get upset, but no, you didn't get it right. When the way you framed it, first of all, just in terms of what the argument was, one of the big battles was he going to get a voluntary manslaughter or a manslaughter instruction? They did get a manslaughter instruction. I think that just watching this from afar, and one of the problems with this case is that it was being reported and being filtered by whoever's team you were rooting for and not being able to see it, is that people didn't understand. A complete self-defense was it reasonable? The middle ground is if it was an unreasonable use of force, but to some degree in reaction to a use of force, that would have put you into manslaughter territory. The reason that's important, Chris, is because to the challenges, the peremptory challenges that were used by the prosecution, this case was over in jury selection, as most cases are. When you don't have any black jurors, and mind you, you had people of color, but no black jurors in this jury, that was over. This kid was not going to get a fair trial. One of the things, I've been doing this for 43 years.
Now, I want y'all to pay attention to what Mark Garagos is saying. He said that the trial was over at jury selection that he was not going to get a fair trial. Now, for the MAGA minions and the trolls who hate to hear the truth and the facts, that's absolutely the case. You see, and this is why he will be granted that appeal. Because as I told you last week, it does not matter any longer whether he's guilty or innocent. What matters in the eyes of the law is if he was given a fair trial. Okay? If he was given a fair trial, it doesn't matter what he admitted to the police. It doesn't matter whether he's guilty or not. Okay? Because at the end of the day, a fair trial is more important than guilt or innocence under the eyes of the law. Now, let's continue listening to Mark Garagos, who has been doing this for 43 years. I think he knows a lot better than we do.
Jury selection determines everything in a criminal case, number one. Number two, the reason the jury selection informs every case in every community, in every courtroom, is because you are the product of your upbringing by the way you view things. And you're never going to convince, I don't care what kind of an orator you are, how persuasive you are, you're not going to be able to impart your lived experience onto 12 people and somehow get them to understand a 17-year-old black kid who's sitting there with two people who are hulking over him and who's shoved first and what degree of force he's supposed to use. A black juror may have understood that in a way that a white juror won't. I know that's incendiary. I know that drives some people insane, but I invite any person, I invite anybody who's ever watched a criminal courtroom work to take a look and see what happens. And race informs everything.
Mr. Faddis, what do you make of the notion? Look, again, the Batson case, that is the seminal case on this from 1986 in the Supreme Court, says there's no constitutional right to people that are the same race as you. They just can't be excluded on that basis. Mark's point is, from a fairness perspective, if there's no one there that is black, a black defendant in this situation cannot get justice. Do you agree?
Look, I agree with a lot of what Mark said. History, social dynamics, those influence the legal system without question. And we can kind of wax poetic about what we think an ideal legal system should be. But then we have the legal reality. And the legal reality on this issue is that the defendant is entitled to a jury pool. So the pool of people that will, from which 12 will be chosen, is a fair cross-section of the community in that locale. And my understanding is that the pool was a fair cross-section of the community. There's no legal right to have somebody of the same race staring back at you from the jury pool. And so, the judge has to look at what is the law here. They can't necessarily look at, what are the historical influences, how have things played out over the course of decades. That's important for legislation. That's important for scholarship. We're in that courtroom. We've got to look at what the law says. And it's a fair cross-section of the community. That is what the defendant is entitled to. And my understanding is that that is what he received ultimately from that pool of folks who was a fair cross-section of that community. 12 jurors were selected. None of those jurors happened to be of the same race.
He needs to sit down somewhere. Let me say this. Now, there were some Asians on the jury. I want to say there were 3, but I know there were at least 2. What I'll say is this. It is a known fact, and you can look this up yourselves, that Asians on juries tend to favor the prosecution. Asians on juries tend to favor, historically, they tend to favor the prosecution. Okay, so they knew what they were doing when they put them on there. But let's continue.
So they're going to take it up on appeal, obviously, and we'll follow that part. Mark, you can put a button on it, but I also want to move on to what the jury did find because they rejected manslaughter. But go ahead.
Right, and the button is this. Why is a prosecutor, any prosecutor can come up with an excuse or a pretext to excuse any juror. You can say that their educational background. You can say they've got a first cousin twice removed who was arrested for something. You can always come up with that. Why does a prosecutor, why are they entitled to a peremptory challenge at all? If they've got the burden of proof, it's beyond a reasonable doubt. Why are they bouncing off black jurors when you know in the community that's just going to inflame the situation?
So that's going to be the basis of appeal. Let's move on to what the jury found, because you're right. They had the manslaughter option. They didn't choose it. On these facts, do you find...
Let me just say, they had the manslaughter option but didn't use it. Now, this is what makes me curious as to what sort of juror instructions they were giving. Okay, because if they were giving the accurate instructions on how to determine whether or not something was intentional homicide, i.e. murder, and they still found him guilty of murder, I would like to know how they came to that conclusion with the correct jury instructions, because it makes me wonder if in fact they had faulty juror instructions that possibly didn't tell them all of the ins and outs of Texas law. But let's continue.
Find that to be a shocks the conscience verdict?
No, I don't, actually. I think that on these facts with this jury, the murder conviction was preordained, frankly. I think it was a victory for the defense to get the manslaughter, but if you had had some black jurors on that jury, I would have prognosticated at that point that they may have landed as a compromise verdict at a manslaughter. There is a pretty compelling argument, but it's a much tougher argument because he did not get on the stand to testify, and that's a whole different decision by the defense. But the fact remains that given a jury that had no blacks on it with a black 17-year-old kid, and that was the end of that. I mean, I'm old enough to remember the Zimmerman case. You covered it. When that jury was selected in Florida and there were no blacks on that jury, I actually said that night on CNN that Mark O'Mara, the lead defense lawyer, would have to trip, fall, and hit his head to lose that case. And sure enough, Zimmerman was acquitted. So for anybody who says race doesn't inform these things, it's naive and it's beside the point.
Mr. Faddis, jury has received consensus on sentencing. What does that mean?
Well, what it sounds like is they have reached a conclusion as to what they believe the sentence should be. Look, that this is a stabbing death of a young man. He had a lot of promise. He was an athlete. He mattered to the community. Those things are of course, concerning to a jury who is going to opine on what they think the ultimate punishment should be. And look, they are well positioned to do that. They were sitting in that courtroom for the entire duration of the trial. There were no cameras involved. We're basing what we know on secondhand reports. They're basing it on what they saw, what they heard, and that was the decision that they have apparently come to.
Now, mind you, they did say, I recently was told that they did say they wanted the jury to sentence Karmelo rather than the judge, because they likely thought the jury would go lighter on him than the judge. Okay, and which they probably did. I mean, they gave him 35 years, but the judge probably would have given him the whole 99. I mean, because I definitely think he's a devout, wanted supremacist.
The problem here is ordinarily, depending on where you live, Mark, last word on this, we're used to a judge handing down the sentence in a lot of places, not in Texas. So here, what you see as the original sin is compounded because that same composition gets to decide the sentence. Now, does that open up a stronger avenue to appeal?
I don't know, because it's been challenged numerous times. They've gotten nowhere. I personally think that maybe 5 years ago, you would have had some traction on the prosecution use of peremptory challenges. I think that we were living in a different time. I think where we are right now, the kind of appellate court composition where we are right now, SCOTUS composition right now, none of those issues I think are going to get any traction, unfortunately, unless something drastic happens.
I mean, what is so interesting to me, and of course, who wants to be in this kid's shoes or his family's shoes or the victim's family's shoes? I mean, this is just trauma all over the place. This case is a 100% Rorschach for your politics. If you voted for Donald Trump, I have had no one yet who identifies that way say to me anything but, why are you bringing race into this? Why are you bringing race? You heard the judge. You heard the judge. There's no constitutional right to it. Why are you making it about race? If you did not vote for Donald Trump, it's, what are you, stupid? Can you not see what's going on here? And there's no black people in it. It is 100% a Rorschach test. That
Just like I told you, it's the MAGA minions, okay? Because they don't care about facts or truth. They just want their own narrative.
That's why the law is so important. That's why trials and crime is so important. It is the last chance we have for this society to come from these two angles and have to come to a consensus of what is fairness under law. Mark Garagos, thank you very, very much. I mean, we heard Mr. Alexander, Mr. Faddis. He says there's a history of this. But once you get into the courtroom, it has its own rules. And we'll see how they apply on appeal. Eric Faddis, thank you very much.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting. I hope that everything goes good on appeal. Now, with that all being said, so they've already filed the notice of the appeal and all of that. Now, the new team with 6 attorneys has announced that they'll represent Anthony on the appeal. Of course, we know that. But here's a distinction that's very important in Texas, okay? Because they say they're conducting an independent review of the trial record to identify any legal errors that could support overturning the conviction or obtaining a new trial through the appellate process. Here's the distinction in Texas, though. So as it pertains to a motion for a new trial, filed in the trial court shortly after the verdict within 30 days of the sentencing, asking the trial judge to order a new trial. Then the appeal, filed with the appellate court arguing that legal errors during the trial require reversal or a new trial. So if the appellate court later finds reversible error, such as unconstitutional jury selection, improperly admitted evidence, prosecutorial misconduct, or effective assistance of counsel, it could order a new trial, even if no motion for a new trial was granted. Now, at this point, Karmelo Anthony's new appellate attorneys have not publicly identified the specific legal issues they intend to raise. They have said only that they are conducting a fresh independent review of the entire trial record to determine whether reversible legal errors occurred. Okay, so based on Texas appellate law and what has been reported about the trial, these are the types of issues they are most likely going to examine. Number 1, the jury selection, i.e. the Batson challenge. Number 2, self-defense instructions. What instructions were the jurors given? Were they given the proper instructions? Okay, appeals generally focus on whether the jury was instructed correctly under the law, not whether the appellate judges would have reached a different verdict. Third, admission or exclusion of evidence. That would be the knife, the tool, whatever you want to call it, because that was not admitted into evidence. The appellate lawyers will review whether evidence was improperly admitted, important defense evidence was wrongly excluded, or testimony should have been limited. And then there's the issue of prosecutorial misconduct. They will likely review whether prosecutors made improper arguments, which they did when they asked the children, who are not experts, okay, and asked them, was it self-defense or was it murder? Who was the provocateur? Did Karmelo provoke it? One of the witnesses said yes, but they didn't even know what the word provoke meant. When asked, do you know what provoke means? They literally said no. But yet they said that Karmelo was the one who provoked it. And it had to be explained to them, okay? Were statements made unfairly that prejudiced the jury? Well, of course, every time the prosecution asked all of their 21 witnesses, was this self-defense or murder? And they all said it was murder. That was prejudicing the jury. And he had no business asking them that. Mind you, like I said before, Mike Howard didn't bother to object on the grounds of speculation or any other grounds. And then next, defense counsel issues. Now, if they believe trial counsel made serious legal errors that affected the outcome, they could later raise an ineffective counsel, assistance of counsel. Okay, these claims are often pursued through post-conviction proceedings rather than direct appeal because they usually require evidence outside of the trial record. So they'll have to gather this information and put this all together prior to the appeals process, basically. And then the next thing is the sentencing. The jury rejected the defense's request to find that Anthony acted under sudden passion, which would have reduced the punishment range. Now, the appellate team may examine whether any legal errors occurred during the punishment phase, including the jury instructions or evidentiary rulings. Okay, so basically, in an appeal, it's not like a second trial, as I told you before. This is just a way for the appellate judges to, they're going to reweigh, I'm sorry. No, hold on. This is not for them to have like a second trial, okay? And they don't tend to reweigh witness credibility, decide whom they believe, hear new testimony, or substitute their judgment for the jury simply because they might have viewed the facts differently. Instead, they're going to ask certain questions like, did the trial court correctly apply the law? Were the defendant's constitutional rights protected? I don't think they were. Did any legal error likely affect the verdict or sentence? Now, that's a good question. Did any legal error likely affect the verdict or the sentence? Now, if the jurors were given the wrong jury instructions, that absolutely would be something that affects it. But also, I think the fact that the weapon that they claim was used was not presented. You can't bring in a supposed replica or a picture. You need to bring in exactly what was used, because you could take a picture of anything and just tell them that's what it was. The jurors should have been able to see the weapon for itself. They should have been able to see whose blood, bodily fluids, or anything was on there through DNA testing. All of this should have been done. And I think that they didn't do that because they're lying about what was actually used. That knife that they showed a picture of, was that really what was used? I have several questions. Okay, and the fact that they're being so secretive about everything even after the trial is over, like, make that make sense. So with that all being said, they could basically, if the answer to these questions, to even one of these questions, is yes, that means the appellate court could affirm the conviction. That's one thing. They could say, hey, well, you know what? We've looked at it, reviewed everything, and the decision stands. Okay, the conviction and the verdict stand. Or the sentence. Or they could order a new trial, order a new sentencing hearing, or in rare circumstances, reverse the conviction altogether. Okay? So, with that being said, here's the thing. Most criminal appeals are unsuccessful. Okay? Most of them are unsuccessful. Roughly 5% to 15% of direct criminal appeals in Texas result in some form of relief for the defendant, such as a reversal, a remand, a sentence modification, or even a new trial. So 5 to 15%, that's kind of a small chance, okay, depending on the court and type of case. But with all of the mishaps and missteps that happened in this trial, I think it's absolutely possible. Very, very plausible. Now, the percentage that results specifically in a completely new trial is even smaller than that, because some successful appeals only result in a new sentencing hearing, correction of a legal error, or only limited relief. However, in a murder case, okay, a serious felony like murder, obtaining a new trial on direct appeal is generally considered uncommon. Now, it usually requires the appellate court to conclude that a significant legal error likely affected the verdict, such as, pay attention, unconstitutional jury selection, i.e. the Batson violation. That's one that we have. Improper juror instructions. I'm pretty sure that one's going to be there too when they go over. Now, I'm willing to bet money on it. Admission of exclusion of critical evidence. We got that too. The weapon was not there. Prosecutorial misconduct, absolutely, by him asking the witnesses things that could prejudice the jurors that he knew he should have been asking. Okay, those questions should have gone to an expert, and also him not producing the weapon. And then next, judicial error or a constitutional violation that was not harmless. Okay, because even if you feel it wasn't harmless, it's still a constitutional violation. So if Carmelo Anthony's appellate attorneys are successful, it will likely be because they identify one or more substantial legal errors, not because the appellate court simply disagrees with the jury's verdict. Appellate courts give considerable deference to jury findings on disputed facts. Now, given the size and the experience of his new appellate team, well, it would be expected that they would conduct a very thorough review of things such as jury selection, self-defense jury instructions, evidentiary rulings, objections made during the trial, which was only about one or two. One was about the no black jurors, or the black jurors being struck. That's the only one that I remember Mike Howard objecting to. Okay, and any constitutional issues perceived in the record. If they uncover a reversible error, the appellate court could order a new trial. Okay? And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. And here's the thing. I don't think that they will overturn the conviction because it's Texas. And they just work a little different down there from what I've been researching and everything. But I do think that they would definitely be able to get a new trial. Definitely be able to get a new trial, in my opinion. Now, I'm no legal expert like Mark Garagos, clearly, but I definitely think that that's a possibility, very plausible. So with that all being said, for the people that have been lying, these people who are MAGA minions, they've been saying, oh, his family, his parents don't even care about him. They have the money. These people are still in these TikTok lives spewing these lies about the defense attorney was a public defender and they spent the money on cars. They're still saying stupid stuff. This is how you know they don't read or research, or they're just lying for the hell of it. But his family has not abandoned him. Okay, they love their child, and at the end of the day, they went to visit him just the other day.
Secret Service Sam here with an update on Carmelo Anthony in prison. A lot of people are saying that his parents have abandoned him. That is not true. An excellent creator named They Call Me Auntie too. Make sure to follow her. She called the prison and verified for herself. She said that Carmelo's parents visited him on Sunday for 2 hours. So it is important that we are not spreading misinformation. He also has access to his tablet, which means only he can decide who has contact with him, families, friends, media, you name it. I would love to be able to get in touch with him to see if we could talk, but I'm guessing that's not going to happen at all, because I think with the appeals team, they want to keep everybody away and keep this thing as close to the hip as possible so that the appeal goes as best as possible to him. And regardless which way you fall on this thing, you should hope that justice is served. Obviously, it is so tragic what happened to Austin. Nobody is here saying that this is great. We all wish that he was alive and that we weren't even talking about this. But the fact is, the book was thrown at Carmelo Anthony. Even seeing Rick Chow, the store owner who took the life of Cyrus Carmack Belton, shooting him in the back and gets off for self-defense, that is why this has just, it's such a polarizing case, because 1 week you see Cyrus Carmack Belton shot in the back, Rick Chow gets off for self-defense. Literally the next week, you see Carmelo Anthony claim self-defense, does not get off, and gets the maximum amount of time. There's so much sketchiness going on with the judge, the DA, you name it, down the line. Let me know what you guys think about this. I will always expose the secrets behind the headlines, on the front lines for you. Secret Service Sam out, Samson for.
All right, they're giving poor Sam death threats, honey. This is how mad the minions are. But why are they so mad? I mean, they got the conviction that they wanted. He's in prison for 35 years. Why are they still mad? Okay, I have several questions. But now, let's talk about, speaking of MAGA, let's talk about Jake Lang. Because according to reports, Jake Lang he got his he got his BET, not BET, he went to the BET Awards trying to target and harass and antagonize Black folk. Well, I'll just let you see what happened. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Here we go. Now, mind you, if you couldn't see his sign, it said Black parents are failures. And I find that interesting because whose kids are the ones that commit the school shootings? Hmm? Who's on the fentanyl and opioids? Sir, okay? Please pay attention. And he must not know any of the people like Jeff Metcalf. Now, that's a failed parent. Oh, this is so ridiculous. Oh my goodness. It's so ridiculous.
We are the true Americans. We are the true Americans. We are the true American heroes. You're discussing domestic terrorists. You're discussing domestic terrorists. These are the flagellates. These are the flagellates. These are the
Tell you all something. Exactly. Greta said he's another chud. Exactly. But here's the thing. I really wish that when our people would see idiots like Jake Lang, that they would just ignore him. He's just a troll in real life. He's walking around coming there with these posters, these signs, just to antagonize them, just to try and purposely piss them off. Now, I would have been laughing because he's funny to me. Okay, he's funny to me, and I know that he just wants our attention. You see, the thing about these MAGA minions, these people that can't stand us, they love to get our attention, and I don't think we should give it to them. Okay, unless they want to try to put hands or something that's different. But with this foolishness, I wouldn't even give him the time of day. This is what he is looking for. He gets a thrill out of this. This is why he shows up. Why would he be at BET Awards? Because he knew there's going to be lots of Black people there. He wanted to come and make his presence known and just cause chaos and disruptions. This is what they do. This is why you see them in the chats on channels when we're talking about the Karmelo Anthony case. Because these trolls really need and desire our attention. I do believe that we're what they live for, why they get up in the morning. I don't care what anyone says. Prove me wrong. Now, what I want you all to pay attention to is that it's the white people that are doing the most to him. The black people just follow him, try to take his side and all of that. But look, it's his own people really coming after him.
Bye-bye. Skedaddle. Skedaddle.
Put a cone on his head. Look at him walking towards the police. Look at him. Look at him. He goes and stirs up all this trouble, harassing people, and then has the nerve to go and cry and whine to the police. Okay? Cowards. That's all these MAGA minions are. Relax, one of them.
I'm sorry, Judge. You can move to the contract. You can move to the contract. Welcome to the
We've seen enough. I think we have seen enough. Now that was hilarious. And that's, that's just what he gets. He's such an imbecile. Okay, he's such an imbecile. Now, with that all being said, there is sad news because here's the thing. There is another young man, like I told you all. His name is Justice Kai James. He has been found hanging from a tree in Albany, Georgia. Let's go to the report. And this is him in the white suit right here. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance.
And we begin with breaking news on this Monday. Albany police investigating the death at Turner Job Corps. Thank you for joining us. I'm Carla Heath Sands. WALB News 10's Quinlan Parker is live in the First Alert Center. And Quinlan, Chief Pursley just wrapped up his Media Monday briefing. What new information have you been able to learn?
Carla, we've learned that Albany police were called to Turner Job Corps just before 10 last night, where they say a 21-year-old man was found unresponsive outside of the cafeteria. The victim was later taken to the hospital and later died. Now, this is being investigated, Chief Pursley says, as a suspicious death, but they are not ruling out that this could also be possibly suicide. Chief Pursley explained why. Take a listen.
You just want to make sure all avenues are covered. Even though it may look like one thing, we want to wait till the results from the autopsy before any official ruling is made, which will come from the medical examiner's office.
Okay. And as it's considered suspicious, is there any threat to the campus or anything you would like to tell parents who have students currently enrolled?
No threat to the campus, but I will say, you know, you never know what a person, how they may be feeling, what person state of mind they may be in. So for everyone, parents who have students out at Turner Job Corps, even or if you work out there, you know, just check on folks. I'm sure, you know, that is not a normal sight to see. So those staff members will more than likely need some counseling as well, also for the students who are there. So this is another opportunity, not just for out at Turner Job Corps to check on people and ensure that they're in a good place mentally and emotionally, but also check on others, you know, young or old, make sure that they're in a good place mentally and emotionally.
So we learned the body has since been sent to the GBI Crime Lab for an autopsy. We have reached out to Turner Job Corps this morning, and they confirmed to us that they are going to cooperate in this investigation, and they're also sending down members from the Department of Labor to launch their own investigation.
No, they're not. I don't believe a damn thing they say, because let me tell you something. The students who go there, the people that are there, they said that they have been being threatened and harassed by the staff and told to shut up talking about it, okay? I saw a video last night, and I don't know where, I can't remember whose channel I saw the video on, but there was two guys at least that go to the school, and they were saying that they were being harassed and threatened and told not to say anything. But there's some other people say the same thing. Let's go to this next report, and then we'll go to some more clips on this, because why are they trying to hide it? And then also pay attention to how the chief of police was trying to insinuate that it could have been something else. He said, oh, let's not just say that, you know, because it looks like one thing, that it couldn't be something else. He knows damn well it was a lynching. He knows that. Okay, it's Otis is behind this. He knows exactly what it is. He knows black people, if you're going to hang yourself, you're darn sure not going to do it from a tree. Okay, who would do that? Please pay attention. And there's all sorts of cameras outside of that school, outside of that Job Corps facility. So where is the footage? Somebody saw something. Also, let me just tell you, they're saying that some white guys did this, and they said, those two guys that I heard talking, they said it was some white guys, and then one of them went online bragging about it. Okay, I'm just telling you. Okay, and they're trying to hush it up. But let's continue.
A man was found unconscious outside the campus cafeteria. Now, the student was transported to a local hospital and later died. Investigators are calling the death suspicious, but not ruling out suicide.
As WALB News 10's Mariah Norman reports, students are pushing for answers, but they say school leaders are pushing back.
Students here say that they are scared and they want more answers about what happened the night that a 21-year-old's body was found on this campus.
It was shortly after curfew. I was watching a movie and a girl runs into my room. She's asking for my roommate to borrow her phone. And I say, my roommate's not in here, but you can borrow my phone. What do you need it for? And the girl said, I need to call my grandma. I want to resign. Somebody just died outside.
Police say the 21-year-old's body was outside the cafeteria. And on Tuesday, students set up a memorial there.
It was a combination of carpentry and landscaping students who put it up. And people have been going there to leave things. And the staff are referring to it as vandalism, and they're calling it unsightly. And we currently have a petition going around to keep the memorial up.
Today, students set out to protest. They are calling for transparency from leaders and being able to honor their friend without disciplinary actions.
They're just saying don't post about it. Because they're saying, oh, you're going to get in trouble, you're talking bad about the school, and you're spreading false information. But it's like, y'all haven't told us anything.
They are threatening to terminate us. I'm honestly feeling horrified at what happened, because no matter what the circumstances were, it shouldn't have happened, and it should not have been allowed to happen.
Dougherty County Coroner Michael Fowler says an autopsy will begin Thursday, June 25th.
And we've reached out to Turner Job Corps numerous times about the latest on this investigation. We have yet to hear back. Reporting in Albany, Mariah Norman, WALB, your hometown news source.
So my question is, why is the school trying to shut them up? Why are they not wanting them to say anything? But let's continue.
A little update on the situation with justice. I've received intel that anybody on campus spreading the truth, they're being harassed by the staff and they're being put in a certain type of basket where they will be socially condemned for what they're doing. On documentation, they're lying about the kid's name even. One of his friends is actually giving me information. The staff of the school needs to be arrested for what they're doing. This is obstruction of justice. Yeah, I know the law. Don't let these people get away with this. Talk about it. I'm so serious. Talk about this. I want everybody to just post about it. Just post.
Yeah, because why are they trying to shut everybody up? I just think it's very strange. Very strange behavior. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. And the students are protesting. Okay, here we go.
Turner Job Corps is riddle me this. So if justice died right here, and there's a camera right there, and y'all claim it doesn't work, yet there's another camera right there, why the hell could we not see anything? Or y'all not see anything? It's just not adding up. And then on top of that, there's another camera right there. So it's like, what are y'all on for real? Because this is suspicious. Oh, and not to mention the additional camera right there. And then there's two other cameras right here and right here. This one's pointing directly at the damn memorial. So it's like, oh, and don't even get me started on this camera right here that points over here. Like, hello, there are cameras from every angle, and yet y'all have yet to run them shit back. Run them back. Like, what are y'all doing? Talk about some damn, there's a blind spot in that camera. Girl, I bet you Stevie Wonder asked to see what the hell happened. Y'all just, something up with y'all. Always the government. And then the sad part is that they genuinely boast about these cameras being high quality and can see from even the text on your phone to your damn toenails. Mind you, they said that while we was in CPP, and they was telling us about how good these cameras are. So why all of a sudden, when someone's dead, the cameras don't work? Like, A plus B is not equaling C right now. What the fuck is going on?
Now, why do y'all think they're lying? They're trying to hide this information for a reason. Okay, did the police tell them not to give out any information and tell them to keep everybody quiet? Or are they afraid of getting sued? Okay, I just have several questions. Now, here is a video of some of the people on campus. Looks like they're in an auditorium or the gym.
Why did it take one body just for everybody to come together like this? That's my main question. Because if somebody was actually doing their job, this would have really never happened for real. Like he was outside. There was no bird out there. Like, right around that he was hanging on the fence. He was hanging on the fence now. Why was nobody doing their job right? Please. Somebody had to be there. Somebody, right? I don't want this to be ruled out as a suicide because everybody here knows that it was not a suicide. His shoulder, it was dislocated. They know it was a fucking murder. They know it was a murder, and they was just sitting in the room. They either gone or somewhere else. But I know it was a murder. Everybody here knows it was a murder. Like, I just want this to be found out. I don't know who it was, but I need this to be found out. And I need the security. I can start doing their job. There was some female security, short one, just like my height. She said she don't give a shit about who died. They told everybody to just go to class. Like, that was actually disrespectful, and I need that solved.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. Is everybody able to hear what this young man just said? Okay. No. Okay. So, just to paraphrase, he's very concerned at the lack of security presence on Sunday evening.
Let me tell you something. These black women, the black staff, they should be raising hell themselves. Aren't they afraid that it could be them or someone else they care about? Like, this is all crazy. But then see how the guy came and tapped him on his back, tried to get him to calm down and be quiet? Now, here's a picture right here. It says him and 2 other people did it to Justice. Here is the person they're saying did it. I don't know if he is or not, but this is the person they're saying was one of the people. And they say that one of them has now left the facility. This is him right here, according to them. Says him and 2 other people did it. They say that one of them has left the facility and literally went online bragging about it. That's him right there. Okay? Allegedly. I don't know, you all. This is getting real crazy, okay? And I believe that these lynchings have everything to do with Carmelo Anthony. Now, the Devils have already been saying they want a race war, and I think this is them behind all of this stuff. Okay, that's exactly what I think. Now, that guy sitting right there, they're pointing the finger at him and 2 other people. Hold on, let's go to this next clip. You can't really hear what they're saying because they're playing the saxophone music from Boys in the Hood. That's become a trend lately.
I'm trying to duck the camera.
Another thing I'm going to address about Justice's death is that at the scene of his death, in black marker, the word "bye" was written. However, I've talked with multiple acquaintances and friends of Justice while I was at Turner Job Corps, and I will say they said multiple times that's not his handwriting. And a cross-examination with this investigation, if they do decide to actually do their job, that will be determined. And on top of that, it's just like the O.J. Simpson case. If the gloves don't fit, you must acquit. And if the handwriting don't match, you must say that this is not a suicide, that someone went and murdered him and made it look like that, or at least tried to. But we all know the truth, and they will come out eventually.
Well, I certainly hope it does. Because I don't think they're making any of this stuff up. I absolutely believe what they're saying. Okay, I absolutely believe what they're saying. And this is a darn shame. And let me just show you a clip of this young man with his family. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. This is Justice here. There's a video I have of him dancing and then a picture of him with his family.
Every time open a sex game, my kick, the words, my baby. Can't even only be money saves. It's like an earthquake, don't calling you out. Queen of close to head, just get it from the back. Such a nice place, just a more for all.
What's the best part about having kids? Watching them grow up. It's the best part about it. I can see that. What's the worst part? Watching them grow up. What's the best part about having kids? Watching them grow up.
So sad. Prayers and condolences to his family, friends, and loved ones. Like, this is heartbreaking. Okay, they found that poor young man who was so full of life swinging from a tree. And the same goes for Tonia Nicole Miller. Okay? And the countless others. This is absolutely horrendous. And all they keep telling us is, oh, there's no reason to suspect foul play. They'll come out and say he did it to himself, just like they did with Tonia Nicole Miller. We don't have to even sit back and wait. We already know what the spill is. That's what it always is. And even when there are cameras present, oh, they don't work. Do you all remember a few years ago, back in 2020, when the guy who was found, it was in July, he was from Palmdale, California, if I'm not mistaken, and he was found across the street from City Hall. Now, we know darn well there's cameras in that area, but they claim that they weren't working. Do y'all remember that? Do y'all remember that? And do you all also remember that I dreamt about it? And I told you all that somebody came along in a black car, pretended they needed that young man to give them directions. He walked over and they acted like they couldn't hear, got out and pulled a gun on him. And they had zip ties in their back pocket and they were a police officer. And then once they got his hands behind his back and tied, they put him in the car and drove him down a little bit further to where a white pickup with a bunch of white men, about 8 or 9, were all waiting, and they hung him from that tree. Now, that's the dream that I had. Do y'all remember that? I want y'all to pay attention. These people think they're so slick, and then the police want to sit there and tell us all these lies, and even black officers and sheriffs and chiefs of police will go along with the BS. This is the reason why I fell out with the previous mayor, the former mayor of Atlanta, Kasim Reeves, because there was a man found hanging, I believe he was 23 years old, found hanging from a tree in Piedmont Park, where my own son used to go and play basketball as a teenager. And what did Kasim Reeves say? He got right on the news and told us the man did it to himself. Okay? So even our own people are complicit in these lies that they know are lies. And you know it's lies when you have people like Jake Lang standing outside of a courthouse talking about stringing up Karmelo Anthony from a tree. You see, that was a dog whistle. Did y'all catch that when Jake Lang said it? Karmelo Anthony needs to be hung outside of the courthouse. Isn't that what he said? That was a dog whistle. He was giving the okay. He was giving the signal for them to start hanging people. If you can't hang Karmelo because he's in jail, start hanging as many of them as you can. Y'all didn't catch that? These wanton supremacists absolutely give out dog whistles. And when they're saying things like that, then that's how you know that these people we find as strange fruit are not doing this to themselves. These MAGA minions could likely be responsible, and I absolutely believe that people with the same mindset as Jake Lang are the ones doing these things. Okay, he's giving out dog whistles about hanging somebody, and then all of a sudden, there's people being hung right after the trial. Please pay attention. This is what they do. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about Cohen Wiley, the poor little 1-year-old who was shot by the police. Now, this lady brought up a very interesting point that I did happen to notice how young the mother looked when I showed you all that video. I was thinking she looks really young, but hold on, because here's the point that she made. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Hey y'all. So sitting here thinking about baby corn again. And I made a video talking about how there was no way really to determine that his mother was not a child. And it seems many of you are confused about what I'm saying. There was no way to look at his mother and know that she was an adult. His mother looks like a minor. Her statue, her frame, her build. Don't leave me. This is her coming out of the funeral. Does she look 20 to you? No, she looks like a 14 or 15-year-old. So that means he saw what I saw. So he didn't care that there was possibly 2 kids in the car when he fired the bullet. Now do you see where I'm going? Now that you've looked, do you see an adult? Or does your eyes lead you to see child? Y'all, this is dangerous. If that girl was profiled as an adult and nothing about her looks adult, in a sad state of affairs. Peace.
Darn shame. He didn't care if she was a child or not. Okay, he didn't care at all. I did. Someone asked me, Littered asked me about Chud. Yeah, I think I shared that on my X account. I'll go to it momentarily, beloved. We're almost out of here.
Were mad when Black people said they were sitting this out, particularly white leftists. I saw that a lot in that space, to realize that the 2 people that were found in trees this week just goes to show that when they start getting involved again, they immediately become the victims. Because you don't find people like us in trees at the same rate that you find Black people. And that's not pleasant to think about, but that is reality. We're seeing Black creators speak up more. Like an example is King Triv, who was actively at the protests at Delaney Hall. The moment Black people get actively involved in politics, protests, anything against white supremacy, they immediately become targets. And waking up to yet another name. I will never have the understanding of what it is like to live as a Black person, not only in the United States, but worldwide. And while I am doing everything I can to spread awareness and speak up with them and beside them and amplify their voices, I am one person. And it freaking sucks that the impact I have is so minimal.
Bless her heart, and thanks for her having empathy. Now, with that all being said, listen, I found that video that I was telling you all about. Hold on, I'm gonna go to it. It was on my X account. That's where I saw it. I thought I saw it on TikTok, but we're gonna go to that. We're gonna go to the Chud the Builder, but also I want you all to see some more racially charged incidents that have in fact occurred that you may not have heard about. And they want to tell us that it's not about race. Well, it's always about race, especially when it comes to MAGA millions. Okay. Now, this man right here, I want you all to pay attention, because this demon right here drove onto a sidewalk and killed 3 innocent children. Okay, his name is Sean Greer. He mowed down 6 children in all because he wanted to get around a bus. And then he took off fleeing the scene. Okay, now, when the cops caught up to him, they say he lied and claimed that he hit a pole and ran because he was on probation and didn't want trouble. He was just sentenced to 73 years in prison. His license had been suspended since 2016. He was already on probation when he chose to drive anyway and put those babies in danger. 6-year-old Andrea Fleming, 5-year-old Paris Kylie Jones, and 9-year-old Lazaya Minnie Stoops, who fought for months on a ventilator before dying from her injuries. This is absolutely heartbreaking. Look at these beautiful, beautiful little babies. Beautiful little children gone. Nobody's going to shed a tear for them, okay? Nobody's going to shed a tear for them but us. But everybody's always thinking that we're supposed to be just so down for their causes. I want you all to pay attention. This is all so sad. Now, with that being said, hold on, let me take this off the screen for a minute so I can look for these other posts. And then there was a 70-year-old black man who was assaulted by some thugs. Okay, let's go to it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. And then there was a family minding their own business. Now, I'm not going to go to that because they're saying the N-word, but they were calling this black family, just harassing them while they're minding their own business and calling them a bunch of N-words. This 70-year-old man got attacked. Look at his face. Look at his eye. Look at the blood on his shirt after being harassed for weeks.
The assault left White with a broken nose, broken eye socket, and stitches over his ears.
I saw him laying in that bed and it didn't look real, to be honest. It was terrible.
I spoke with 2 of White's daughters. They stayed with him overnight, taking turns to check on White in the emergency department. They tell me that Watt had been harassing their dad for weeks.
Now, what did I tell you all about these MAGA types? These men are nothing but cowards. They will never fight a black man toe-to-toe, not a black man who can get busy with them. They'll go pick on the elderly, the disabled. They'll pick on teenagers. They'll pick on women. This is what they do, little children. But what they won't do is stand toe-to-toe with a black man, okay, a masculine black man who can go to give them that work. That's what they won't ever do. And I want you all to pay attention to that. It's very important that you notice that they only attack soft targets. A 70-year-old man, he beat the crap out of him. Okay? It's a darn shame.
Police tell me that's something they're investigating.
My father is 70 years old. He did not deserve this. And he will give you the shirt off his back. He goes to work every day. He loves his animals. He loves his wife. They've been married for over 20 years. And he's lived in Newark 18 years. Yeah. Nothing like this ever happened to my father.
I stopped by the Newark Police Department and spoke with Chief Gonzalez. He told me that Watt cooperated until he found out he was going to jail. And that
So he thought he was going to do this and get away? He literally thought he wasn't going to jail? If somebody did that to my daddy, baby, the only one going to jail will be me.
In addition to the assault charges, Watt also faces 1 count of endangering the welfare of a child, since police say he had his daughter with him at the time of the assault. The chief tells me he's not.
That's a darn shame. But they say it's not about race. Yeah, of course it is. When you have hateful devils. And look at this right here. Now I want you all to pay attention because they were just crying and whining about, oh, they're so sick. This is so evil. When people were making up that dance about Austin, I told you all, I don't condone that BS. But at the end of the day, this is what they do. They've always done it. And that's where those kids learned it from. And this is what I wrote on here. I said, this is nothing new. Him and other racist folks have always mocked the deaths of our people, which is exactly why, sadly, some black teens are mocking Austin and even made up a dance. They learned it from people just like him, shaking my damn head. Only difference is he's an adult. Okay, because you have black teenagers doing this foolishness. You don't have grown black people engaging in it. Okay, he's mocking the death of Cyrus, a 14-year-old. Okay, dead black kids make the world a better place. That's what he said. That's what he said. Okay? And I'm going to screenshot this and go dig up his information. I hope somebody already has and find out where he works and all of that and see how he likes it. This devil right here, now this is what I call instant karma. This man killed this lady. She's a mother of 3, 44. She's 47-year-old Jessica Fields. Okay, he beat this woman to death during a domestic attack. and then went out in the woods to try to bury her body. But guess what happened? Listen to this. So Daniel Robbins, a 44-year-old man from Macon, Georgia, he strangled his girlfriend, 47-year-old Jessica Folds, to death during a domestic attack. Now, after killing her, Robbins tried to cover it up by dragging her body into a remote wooded area in Chambers County, Alabama. He loaded her into his truck and drove to the woods to dump her like trash. While he was out there hauling her body, he collapsed and died of a heart attack right next to her. Okay? She took him on up out of here with her. I bet you that was her spirit. Deputies found them together, Jessica with her hands raised above her head and Robbins curled up in the fetal position. The truck was still running with the door open and drag marks in the dirt leading straight from it to their bodies. Jessica was a mother of 3. Isn't that something? Y'all hear that? Kill that poor woman and was going to just leave her out there like she was trash. Yeah, then he died of a heart attack and dropped dead right next to her. I'm talking about instant karma. Absolutely, that's what that was. So anyway, with that all being said, beloveds, oh, let's go to the Asians though, because there's some Black people, some of y'all just can't learn. Some of y'all just don't learn. You're going to learn the hard way. Now, this Black girl goes to the nail salon to get her nails done. Oh, hold on. First of all, I forgot to show you all the other video that I was telling you all about the young man, Justice James. But we've got to go to this video of this woman goes to the Asian nail salon and gets done dirty. Like, why are you even there? Okay, don't come crying to us. I'm so sick of some of these Negroes.
I'm here with a former student at Turner Job Corps in Albany, Georgia, where a young man named Justice Kai James, they said he passed away, but y'all believe he was hung. What made y'all believe that?
The reason why I made it believe that because 3 white boys confessed to his murder. They said that they did it to him. They laced a vape with some controlled substance drugs. The people at the Turner Job Corps trying to hide his death because they don't care about none of our living, our well-being there. The boy who admitted to the fact that he drugged him and hung him on the fence, they let him go home. They said they let him go because he was very mental, which is, I know that's cap because now he's online saying that he did it and nobody can do nothing to him. So
you got the proof that he's saying he did it online.
I just went live actually. Hold on, the screenshot that he just came through live and said I did it and I used the rope. Hold on.
Good.
Oh God, I was just live.
Live. And you talked to his family?
I talked to his family. His baby mama said she's supposed to be on the way. D's still trying to get answers. We had all big creators in on this. They're basically hiding his death, and they're not trying to do anything about it.
Her Job Corps said, what did they? Y'all told me that they were trying to put it on lockdown when they heard I was coming.
Yeah, they said they was gonna put it on lockdown. Nobody can come to the gate. Can nobody contact you if you show up? They're gonna call the police. They say anybody that protests or petition are gonna get terminated and sent to jail. It's very bad. They don't care. They want us to do normal. They sweeping it under the rug. They told us if we post anything, if we keep talking about it, we're gonna get sent to jail, sued, and they're threatening us with unknown calls. I think it's them. I don't really know who it is, but we're getting unknown calls from Job Corps and people around Albany.
Now, I want you all to pay attention. When they're trying to hide something, when they're trying to cover up something, they start talking about putting you in jail. They can't put you in jail for posting something that happened when you're just talking about it. You're not making any threats or doing anything illegal. That's a scare tactic. They did the exact same thing with Karmelo Anthony's case. The police came out talking about, oh, if anybody uploads footage about what happened, we're going to have you arrested. You can't arrest somebody, okay, for posting their own damn video that they took with their own cell phone. Those kind of tactics don't scare me. They can miss me with it. Now, Zip Zip Zoom Zoom said these gangsters and thugs are so useless and weak looking. They don't deter. They don't deter. They embolden. Of course. And that's why people in our neighborhoods need to stop trying to cape for them and stop talking about no snitching. Snitch. Telling all of them if you know they're doing something. If you see something, say something, because they're not good for anything except for the further detriment and destruction of our communities. They don't protect our communities. That's what they don't do. Now, if they were earning their keep, that might be a different story. Okay, if they were standing on business, if they were doing some security around there, okay, if they would check people when they come on the block and make sure they're supposed to be there and they're not up to no good, that's one thing, but they're not. Okay, so stop that no snitching BS. Period. These people don't care anything about their own people. All right, like stuff, everyone, please like and share. Let me go to this last clip. Well, not exactly the last clip, but one of them. Here it is right here. Now, she has this sob story to tell how she went to the nail shop in Brunswick, New Jersey. Girl, sit down somewhere. And then don't let me forget to show you all Chud the Builder before I close out my X account. Okay? Exactly. I Love Hip Hop said they snitch on each other all the time. Yes, they do. They sure do, beloved.
So imagine you go to a new nail place, you check them out from TikTok, and then you're asked, oh, hey, I want to respectfully make sure that you say yes to making content before I start recording. Do you mind if I record your hand? 2 days later, I'm scrolling my TikTok timeline and I see my hands saying, her, I'm broke, with a broken heart emoji, meaning you have no money. And then him as a response saying, me, bet. One, this makes absolutely no sense. How am I broke and I'm a paying client that tipped you very well? As a woman of color, I found it very odd how when I looked at other videos on the page of women with lighter skin or white hands, they had no kind of weird captions or anything on it. At 11 o'clock at night, I then check my phone and he sends me a message through the automated number that they have. Hi, Kiani. Before your next appointment, I wanted to reach out and tell you that I can no longer take you on as a client.
There's a video going around on the internet where a person is talking about me at a nail salon, and I just want to come up.
Hold on, now I want you all to listen carefully to what he says. But Kiani is a damn fool, because why did you go there and let him do your nails in the first place and then talking about you tipped him real good? You're a whole idiot. And I have questions as to whether or not she's African American. Okay, because she said a woman of color. We don't call ourselves that. I'm no damn woman of color. I'm a black woman. Okay, she sounds like either a raccoon or somebody that's not one of us. But let's keep going.
And apologize for any misunderstanding that happened. Take full accountability. But here's my end of the story. So that post that I posted actually had nothing to do with her. It just happened to be her hands in the video used for that like viral hook. Like, you know how creators use viral hooks to get viewership and stuff like that? That's basically what I did. And I completely forgot that that customer, I didn't want to do her nails anymore. That's really my bad. I shouldn't have, correlated her to the video, which could be a big misunderstanding. But yeah, I just wanted views on the video. The reason why I don't want to do her nails anymore is because it just kind of made me feel uncomfortable as I was doing her nails. And my whole thing is that if I don't feel comfortable doing a customer's nails, I'm just not going to do the nails, We can make life enjoyable with those transactions by talking to one another, about asking each other, how's your day? Just cool conversations, As she sat in my chair, she kind of was passive aggressive and didn't really believe that I could do my job, asking, oh, do you want to see the French again? And like certain things that just kind of ticked me off. Racism isn't even part of the equation because I have a ton of African-American clients, Caribbean clients, Jamaican, Haitian, Nigerian. My brother's wife is Jamaican. It's like, bro, how can I be racist? You know what I mean? Like,
how can you be racist? Did y'all hear that? He said I can't be, it doesn't have anything to be about racism because he has a ton of Nigerian clients and all of that. Honey, y'all been racist and y'all been having black clients. What are you talking about? That's why we don't fool with you. At the end of the day, bottom line is you want the money, but you don't want to give respect. Now listen to him sitting up here lying. Why would he put on there that she was broke? But that's what she gets because she's a whole darn fool. That's right, Greta Lee. She's a fool and a raccoon, period.
Now y'all see why I've been telling y'all to stop going to them shops even before all this boycotting happened? Because they're racist and they only want your coin. But not only do they want your coin, they feel like there's a privilege to sit in their chair and you owe them. So not only do you pay them for the service, you got to shook and jive while you're in their chair too. Because if you don't, they're going to feel uncomfortable. This is blatant racism. He is racist. He's racist and he wanted her to dance. dance. What do you mean you gonna sit here and get your nails done because you paid to get your nails done? You supposed to sit here, get your nails done, pay to get your nails done, and entertain me while I'm doing your nails.
Yeah, so he obviously had a problem that she wasn't sitting there being all chatty patty with him. Okay, I want you all to pay attention. These people are something else. But like I said, some of them just learned the hard way. But the blackout is absolutely working. Okay, some of their businesses are closing down. And let me just tell you all something too. I've heard that some of these Asian owners who sell the hair products are refusing to sell to Black women because they don't want you to be able to service your clients. They want to try to force us to come to them. Let me tell you all how to remedy that. You see, they're not allowed to monopolize an entire industry. So what we need to do if they continue is sue them. File a class action lawsuit and sue them, because that's what you can't do. You don't get to see, that's discrimination. You don't get to pick and choose who you're going to sell your products to because you're trying to make one group have to come and bend to you. Okay? I want y'all to pay attention. All right, I want you all to pay attention. I'm going to spread the word, because if they continue, and I keep hearing about their refusing to sell to these Black beauty supply and nail salon owners, I absolutely will get an attorney to draw up the paperwork. Okay? They can miss us with it. They don't run anything. I don't know why they think that they're so entitled to our money. So let's continue.
I think the boycott working. I think it is, because I'm over here at this nail shop and I said, let me go in there. So I went in there. Let me show you. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. So I went in that nail shop right there, and it was one Black lady in there getting her nails done, a white lady in there, and it was 3 white ladies went in there. And I was like, I see another white lady going in there now. And see, that's the thing. I ain't never seen no I've never, ever seen an Asian woman in the nail shop unless they work there. I ain't never seen them. And I've been going to nail shop for a long, long time. Baby, why the Asian women don't go to the nail shop? But I think the boycott working.
Yeah, it is working. But the question is, she brought up a good point. How come they don't go to the nail salons, the ones that don't work in them? Did y'all ever think about that? How come they don't go and get their nails done? Like, that all makes sense. I've never seen one of them in there either.
Common sense approach. Now, I know most Asian business owners are probably thinking to themselves that this situation with Black Americans banning supporting their businesses will eventually come to an end sooner than later, and it'll be back to business as usual. But to be honest with you, I don't think so. As you can see, these ladies getting it in, putting in work. I don't think so. I think you guys are in it for the long haul when it comes to Black people supporting your businesses again. And I'm going to give you a few reasons why I think so. Number one, a lot of people been waiting on you to fuck up anyway. And that's just the truth. A lot of people have been waiting on you to fuck up. Which leads me to number two. You have close to 50 million Black Americans in this country. A lot of them who have been waiting on the opportunity to provide these services to their community. But you was in the way, which goes back to number one. A lot of people been waiting on you to fuck up. And last but not least, a lot of Black Americans have been talking to their children about this. And there's a lot of things you don't want to be in the eyes of your children, but you definitely don't want to be a hypocrite and to look weak in front of your children or in the eyes of your children. So for me to sit down and have these conversations with my children on why we shouldn't support these businesses, and then to go and start back supporting them, makes me a hypocrite to my child, and it also makes me look weak. So for the, it's a few more reasons, but those just a few reasons why I feel like things will never go back and be the same as it was.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, at this point, it's too late to turn back. And here's the thing. All we're really seeing is more hatred and racism from them. That's all we're really seeing. Don't forget that. Okay? Don't forget that. Now, with that all being said, there's one more clip. So, Treatment Girl Nola said, Queen, did you hear about the KKK with hoods on coming into a black neighborhood in ATL and coming out lifeless? I didn't hear anything about that, beloved, but hold on. The last report that I have on here from what I just looked up, it says February the 27th of 2025, historic black community hit with KKK flyers weeks after a neo-Yahtzee standoff. But other than that, I see where they say there have been several recent instances of Ku Klux Klan KKK activity in or near black neighborhoods. Honey, they better not come to this. Okay, these incidents have generally involved members passing through to distribute racist or recruitment flyers, often wrapped in plastic bags and weighted with rocks, rather than organizing marches or rallies. In Cincinnati, in February 2025, there was some in the Lincoln Heights area, Lexington, Kentucky, on Martin Luther King Jr. Day in January of 2026, Ohio, May of 2024, in a black neighborhood in Cleveland's, I think it's pronounced Howe community. And then Atlanta, Georgia in April of 2022, residents in the diverse Northwest Atlanta neighborhood of Riverside found threatening flyers. That's all I see, beloved. That's all I see. But you said they came out and coming out lifeless. I didn't hear anything about that, but I'll keep an ear open. But I tell you what, I don't want to see them. That's what I don't want to see. I don't want to see them. But there's mixed people over here. I mean, like a mixed group of people, like, and it's really segregated though, even though it's mixed people over here, because it's like black people on one side and the white folk on the other side. And I'm not even joking. Like literally on one side, this is black folk, and on the other side is the white folk. And that's for real. Okay. And I told you all that time, one of the white neighbors who looked Latina, I think they were a white looking Latina, called the police on me one night when this is like maybe 3 years ago, when I was out walking around the park. Okay. I was walking around the park that's adjacent to here, and I was walking at night, just getting my exercise in. I had walked around like maybe they have like a trail, and I had walked, it was like my 4th time going around, and I saw the guy. First of all, I saw the guy come outside, like on the second turnaround. And I saw him come outside acting like he was going to his mailbox. And I'm thinking, who's checking their mailbox at almost 10 o'clock at night? And he didn't even get anything out of the box. He stood there, looked at me for a second, pretended to look in the mailbox, went back in the house. And about maybe 10 minutes later, the cop is sitting there in the SUV with the laptop open. And then I'm coming up and I have on, I think he thought I was a dude at first because I had on like black joggers, sneakers, and a black hoodie on my, and I had the hood up on my head. And so as I'm walking, the cop's sitting there looking. And then as I get close enough for him to see my face, the cop just starts laughing and drives off. How did I know that got caught? Because why the hell are the cops here and at the park while I'm doing my walk? So I knew that's what he came outside for, okay? Gonna call the cops on me. I wanted to go over and knock on his door and curse him the hell out. Okay, let him know I've been living here way longer than you, honey. Don't come here with your BS. But yeah, so that's the kind of things they do. They come here disrupting the neighborhood, trying to gentrify and all that. But we ain't going nowhere. Okay, please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, I'm going to go to this last clip. I'm not going to play the whole thing because this guy is long-winded like I am, and his video is like 10 minutes long. So we're going to listen to about 3 or 4.
Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. This is how you know that the boycott is working. So yesterday I opened up the app, the TikTok app, as I was coming home from work, and I saw a comment talking about how, Black Americans don't like us, and they said this and they said that and blah, 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 blah. This is how I know that the boycott is working. When you comment on my page and you're talking about how I, as a Caribbean person, should be uniting with other Caribbean people to support Chinese businesses. I know for a fact that you're not a Caribbean person. You know how I know for a fact you're not a Caribbean person? Because Caribbean people know damn well the struggles and the strife that not only Black Americans are going through or have been going through, but what we also went through or what we are currently going through. You understand? When black people, Black Jamaicans, such as myself, have to look at our country and see Europeans and even Asian people come down, fly down to our country, take advantage of the laws, policies in our government, and steal our land and fence off our beaches, and then have the audacity to get guards and put in place to protect them from our own land, then we know exactly why this boycott is important. And if you are a Caribbean person and you don't understand the importance of this boycott, you are just lying. You are lying. You came up with this thing to talk about how Black Americans are last year they boycotted, Caribbean businesses and stuff like that. Okay, I'm going to run the numbers for you so you can understand why that would have been something foolish. You see, the difference between the Chinese businesses and the Caribbean businesses is this. Caribbean businesses has only basically a taste that most Caribbean people love. Not all Black Americans, and I'd say it's a very small percentage of Black Americans that like Caribbean food. You understand? So most of the customers that are patronizing, that are patrons of Caribbean shops and restaurants are Caribbean people. So if Black Americans were, and they would already know this, if they were to boycott Caribbean businesses, they already would know that there are Caribbean people that would be already supporting those businesses. Because Black Americans already know that they don't really have a taste for Caribbean condiments. They don't really have a taste for Caribbean food. So that's a null, void, and a lie. You understand? Second of all, you not understanding that the boycott, the message of the boycott is not about destroying. You see, people keep saying, yes, the business is going to get destroyed. Yes, it is because of the boycott. But that's people don't understand. You people, it's either you don't understand or you don't want to understand. That's the only thing I can say. It's either you don't understand or you don't want to understand. You understand? The fact of the matter is this. Black Americans have been talking. I've been here long enough. I've been in America for over 10 years. And I've seen it all.
Okay, I'm gonna stop him right there. Listen, I was looking for something because there's some people on TikTok saying that Trump was rushed to the hospital. Has anybody heard that? Because when I Googled it, I didn't find that information. Now there's about 3 people that I've seen reporting that Trump was rushed to the hospital. Now I need to know what's really going on. Hold on, let me check one more time. Okay, hold on. Was Trump rushed to the hospital? Let me just see here, because they be trying to keep this under. It says no. It says he was not rushed to the hospital. Y'all are saying y'all didn't hear that. I don't know where people are getting this stuff from, but they're sure these are reliable sources. These are people that are usually reliable sources. Okay, I don't know if these are old videos that somebody reposted for kicks and giggles. I don't know, but at least I know one of them's a reliable source. And then somebody says Trump is accused of terminal illness on C-SPAN after a no-show. What? What do y'all think is going on here? Bl00d said he's got swollen ankles. I like Caribbean food. This is not a boycott. It's a transfer of loot from the pockets of the others to our pockets. Exactly. Zip, zip, zoom, zoom. Okay, exactly. And I don't know what he's talking about because I like Caribbean food too. Okay, I absolutely do. Red beans, rice, cabbage, you name it. All right, so you said you don't see anything. Okay, so I'm not even going to report that. I was just wondering if anyone else heard it. Okay, so Greta said he's on borrowed time. Okay, y'all are something else. And this one guy was saying, please let him know because he needs to know whether to celebrate. This is all crazy. Okay, so listen, beloveds, listen. I am going to conclude this broadcast. Okay, I will likely be back later. I love you all to life. I hope you enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. I didn't see any trolls in here today. Okay, Dina said he's still alive and unattractive. No lies detected, beloved. Okay, attractive deficient. But listen, so I hope y'all enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Mr. Elevation said his wig fell off. Oh my goodness, y'all are something else. But really, it's good for us to have a laugh every now and then because there's really it seems like a dark cloud hanging over us. And I want you all to be paying attention. We all need to be staying prayed up because there's a whole lot going on. These people are very angry, they're very hateful, and they're very wicked. Okay, and don't you think that this is the last of it that we're going to see from them. Okay, you all need to be not going out by yourselves late at night. Take something with you to protect yourself or go with other people, not by yourself. Because 2 people found hanging from trees, okay, found hung within 2 weeks. And this is all after the verdict, okay? I want you all to pay attention. So the devils are trying to get us outside. They're clearly desperate because they got nothing to lose, you see. They're upset because their birth numbers are down and ours are up. Please pay attention. And this is just all sad. Please pray for the families of the young men on the screen, okay? Cohen Wiley, may he rest in peace. Justice Kai James, may he rest in peace. Cyrus Carmack Belton, may he rest in peace. And Karmelo Anthony, shall you be set free, beloved. With that all being said, I love you all to life. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Until next time, I will talk to you all again soon. Peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. That's See right. A bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X to my jeans and I got